Hi, my name is Bob Mazey, and I'm the president of the New Jersey Agents Alliance. And welcome to another edition in our ongoing series of interviews with key thought leaders in the insurance space. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Pete Polgar, the president of Glenmont Consulting, who actually specializes in marketing for insurance agencies here in New Jersey. Today's topic is going to be consumer behaviors and how those behaviors are changing and what we need to do as insurance professionals and business owners to adapt to those changes. But before I begin, I just want to make a special shout out and a thank you to Utica National Insurance Company for not only supporting this series, but for supporting the independent insurance agency channel here in New Jersey. So Pete, why don't we begin with giving us your observations on what's changing in the current market and how those changes impact how insurance agencies should adjust their marketing style.
Awesome. So Bob, this is one of those things that I think you and I have spoke about a few times. And look at what we're doing. We talked about videos last year, and we're actually doing videos today.
Yes.
And this is not just pandemic driven. This is like the industry driven. So, and this is not whether you think it's just for insurance agents. It's for everybody. Okay. So internet's cheaper. 5G is coming out, so internet's faster. Video is more accessible. It's very easy to shoot video. And the way we're consuming information is video-based. And the fact that, Utica is supporting this initiative shows that we're already thinking forward, right? And so when I say things are changing, it's not just insurance, it's actually more just as an industry, and you can't fight it. So we have to adapt.
Right. So what do you think is driving this change?
So, I think it's, right now, this change was going to happen. The pandemic was just a stimulus to it, right? And it just got things moving a lot quicker. E-commerce started to move quicker. Zoom meetings got quicker. And here's the thing, I used Zoom years before Zoom was cool. I remember I kind of showed you, we all dismissed it. Everybody,
Sure.
they didn't know how to use their webcams, but then we were forced to learn how to use it. So it's almost like the pandemic created this environment of well, I don't really know how to use video calls. I don't want to do video conferences, to this is the new normal, and I was forced to learn it. So it almost kind of felt like when I learned how to ride a bike, and my father said, oh, the training wheels are still on, and you look back and you're like, they're not. And so you just kind of had to learn. So I think the fact that we got comfortable with Zoom and we got comfortable with being on video and webcams start to change everything. And that's, and as you can see, internet, we're all using internet more. We're on our devices more. I'm a millennial, so I can do this. You can't. But I basically have an iWatch, I have a regular watch, I have my phone, I got my iPad, and I got my laptop. So if I'm gonna consume data, I'm consuming it via video lately. So a lot of video.
Right. So we talked about Loom, we've talked about Zoom, we've talked about other sorts of mediums, but what other core technologies do insurance agencies need to think about to be relevant and get their message out to the public?
Sure. So I know this is going to sound silly, but I think it's time to, and it's almost like I don't want to be a broken record, but we need to get a good website going, right? And when I say good website, I want to step back from that. It's not an art project. It's not a brochure. Make it functional, okay? And the agents that we work with, or the agencies that also work with me, the most successful ones don't only focus on marketing, they focus on sales, customer service, their presence, and that's what we do with the website. So for example, the easiest thing you could do with a website is literally make it easy to use. Don't talk about yourself, get a quote, call me, make it easy to find buttons, because our attention spans are so short. And I'm seeing that even with the forms, where we used to have very complicated forms like request a cert, add a new driver form, all of that, to just name, phone number, and the consumer expects us to know this information, and they don't want to fill out all of that information. They don't know I don't know my policy number. And even when I interact with my insurance agent, Honey at Schumacher, I just call her and I say, hey, what's going on with this stuff? And literally I just make one phone call and it gets taken care of, right? And so so what I guess where I'm going with this is, if you make your website too complicated, too pretty, too busy, I think it actually has a bad impact. So I think maybe take a step back, maybe simplify your website, or kind of grow into your website, because video is going to be, you're going to start adding videos to your site, and make sure your website can handle it. So
Right. So obviously COVID has changed the way we conduct business, the way we communicate with people, so on and so forth. do you think that once we get over the pandemic, if there ever is such a thing, and the vaccines are effective, do you think that consumers will go back to pre-COVID behaviors or doing business pre-COVID, face-to-face, mano a mano, if you will?
Yeah.
Or do you think that the COVID has become a medium to shift consumer behavior and expectations and how they deal with you? And the question that we often talk about, when we were sent home effectively in March of 2020, the question that we all contemplated as insurance agents and business owners was, is it possible to replicate a personal relationship if you're not face-to-face? And that was, I think, the challenge. And I think that lots of businesses have found ways to do that. Others haven't. And the question is, I think there's some folks that think that, well, once everyone's vaccinated and the pandemic is behind us, that people will be comfortable again coming into an office, shaking hands, sitting across the table like we are. But some say that COVID has made such an impact on changing people's lives that they're going to prefer a digital experience and they're going to prefer not to have the one-on-one exposure to people. So do you think that's where it's going? Do you think it's going to revert back?
Yeah.
What's the future look like as far as you're concerned?
So I guess if I had to say, I think it's going to be a hybrid. I don't think we'll ever go back to it. And it's more of like, I think the days of, and it's from everything, right? So you look at big companies, now they want to recruit better talent, but in order to get a good job, you need to be in the big city like New York City or LA or Silicon Valley or any of those. And I worked in New York. It's terrible to commute in there. So I guess what's starting to happen is the answer is going to be hybrid. It's kind of like, instead of work-life balance, what I'm starting to embrace is the work-life integration, and what I mean by that is you got to like balance out, like it's got to work for you. So one, we got to focus on the employees. We got to make it work for the employees. So it's going to be a hybrid approach of going back into the office. But that being said, some people want to see in person, some don't. It depends which vendor. Like, I love to hang out with you and we talk about anything we want. But there's other clients, if not knocking on my accountant or lawyer, but I like to keep those meetings short because, and if
because they charge by the hour.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But here's the best is if he's sending me a Loom recording, I know how many minutes he spent. Right. So
good point. Good point.
So but in general, I really do think it's back to the whole website, right? You gotta adjust your cut consumer. Some will want it, some won't, and you gotta and that's where I really feel people are mistaken. And I think this is another thing that I do want to touch on is technology is not fixing this problem. We're underappreciating our internal staff more than we think. There are so many clients of mine that are like, oh, we need a chatbot. And I hear it. Oh, we need SMS text messaging. I hear it. I go on those calls. We talk about it. While I think they're great, what happens is nobody manages them. Yes, but then what ends up happening is you set up text messaging, you set up a shared inbox, you set up a phone center, you set up live chat, you set up emails, whatever, and then you're not answering them. So what I'm trying to do is, listen, it's not going back. So maybe start to embrace, simplifying their lives. And how do you simplify it? Start with your website. Create asynchronous videos like using Loom. Instead of having an hour-long meeting with them, explain their, why the rates went up, what's going on. Send it to them and let them approach you if they have any questions. And you can do this more efficiently. So I guess it's kind of like, I know I didn't answer it directly, but that's where it's going. I mean, we're seeing it, right? And that's the way I think agents can continue to be more competitive, because now they're not constrained to New Jersey. They can start going anywhere. And that's the beauty of it, because back to, again, video is going to make it easier, but, that's where I believe in it. But again, I may be a too forward-thinking millennial as well.
Right. Well, it doesn't feel to me that things are going to change or go back. So for those businesses, those insurance agencies, if you will, that don't choose to embrace this change and go back to the old sort of paper and pencil and phones and faxes and whatever old traditional legacy service platforms they use, what do you think will happen to them?
This is interesting. I don't want to be. If they don't change, it's not going to work.
Right.
You're just going to age out. And I don't want to say like you can't continue to do well, but then you can become one of those like lifestyle agents where you just have some really like high net worth individuals and that's enough, and you just service them like crazy and you hang out with them, whether it's in golf courses, country clubs, whatever you want to do, and then you service them. But if you want to continue to grow your agency and stay competitive, that's it. I mean, how many conversations do we have with these startups? I mean, the technology is incredible. And it's only a matter of time before people are like, hey, like, it's 8 o'clock at night, I have a claim, I can't get a hold of my agent, I can't get a hold of anybody. That is a reason I would change, right?
Right.
And that's the thing with insurance, it's pretty easy to change with insurance.
Right.
But when somebody's looking out for you and you don't have to think about it, then you're not switching, you know?
Right. So I guess what I'm hearing is the digital tools, if you will, ease the friction points and such with regard to accessibility and so on and so forth. But to have that human element still part of the transaction is important to you. So basically, are you saying that you'd rather have some human intervention or than none? Because we as professional insurance agents, obviously take our business pretty seriously. Insurance is a relatively complicated product, unlike most people think it is. So you really do need that advisory, consultative experience. So to be able to marry that good advice, that good technical knowledge with technology seems to be the winning combination. So let me put you on the spot a little bit here. I know you're a marketing person and very adept at web development, digital marketing and such. If you had an insurance agency, what would that look like?
Okay, so let's talk about what I would do. I would probably take a minute to like understand my tech stack. When I say technology, it's when I say tech. Let me make sure to say that correctly.
Let's talk about tech stack.
Yeah. So technology stack. Okay. So I want to make sure I pick the right tools and not overwhelm myself. I'm like I said, whether you're using Applied Epic, EasyLinks, Vertafore, AMS 360, any of those, it really doesn't matter. Make sure it works for you and make sure you're using it efficiently. Okay. Because that is where one thing I'm noticing that a lot of agents use bits and pieces and they're not using it as effectively as they should. As I would grow that out, I would literally spend majority of my time just creating an environment where if it was Glenmont Insurance Group, sounds like a good group actually.
It actually sounds like a good name.
So Glenmont Insurance
We may
Group.
consider admitting Glenmont
Insurance
Group.
Yeah.
Sure, great.
Yeah, so I would be kind of like, I would try to, there's two things I would try to do. I try to like be the groovy kind of like insurance company where I focus on work-life balance. That's very important. That's what I'm focused on today, and I really do believe in that because of the mental health and all those things that are happening. But I would try to see what I can outsource efficiently, and then when people see as like, oh, Glenmont is really Pete Polgar insurance agent, my goal would be to take my company as like, this is a standard, this is what we do, and then I try to get everybody involved, every single agent, if you work at Glenmont Insurance Group, you're doing videos. If you don't like it, it's a new requirement, just like sending an email. Reason being, I have this issue, and I think some agents may have this issue. 9 o'clock, they'll answer the phone. They'll never not answer the phone. But you can't take a vacation then. You can never really take a vacation. But also that doesn't make you lucrative for if you're trying to do if you're trying to be acquired and build it up and sell. But envision it if so great technology, great environment. And then my marketing, I would do the basics again of like email marketing, quick little videos like this. And then my goal would be to continuously brand Glenmont as this is our standard. And anybody you talk to, whether it's the receptionist or the president, it's the same level of service. And that there's a way that this communication happens among our team where it doesn't matter who they talk to. They don't need to talk to Pete about everything. They can talk to Joe, they could talk to Craig, they could talk to Bob, whomever. And that's where I would go. And now that's in a perfect world. So I guess this is a thing that we're gonna have to somehow figure out. I've been doing my job this way for the last 15 years, 20 years, 30, 40, I don't know. And now you're telling me I have to get on a webcam? No. A lot of people are gonna resist it.
Right.
But look, it's not Pete Polgar Insurance, it's Glenmont Insurance, right? So if you continuously take on all the burden as an agency owner, you won't be able to keep up. No break.
Right. Well, I guess the important thing is there are firms such as yours out there that independent agents can engage with to help them through this journey, so to speak. I'm really proud to say that we have an exclusive relationship with Glenmont Consulting here in New Jersey, and you've been enormously helpful in helping our agents become digitally relevant. That's the term that I like to use, is digitally relevant. So I can't thank you enough for being such an important partner to the Alliance. And certainly your dedication to the independent insurance agency system is also very much appreciated. So
I appreciate that, Bob.
I just wanted to thank you again for spending a few minutes with us. We always appreciate hearing from you. Also wanted to thank our friends at Utica National for again sponsoring this event and continuing to sponsor our efforts in the digital and video marketplace. My name is Bob Mazey, again the president of the New Jersey Agents Alliance. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again.